Yo, welcome to the Trippy Show and the Paranormal News. We have some crazy stories to talk about this evening, including a tale from a Marine. In fact, a former Marine who was on duty at Guantanamo Bay. This, of course, is in Cuba.
I thought they shut that down.
No, that thing is alive and kicking. And apparently back in the 60s, particularly 1968 and 1969. I mean, we've covered so many different UFO stories, with a lot of them coming from 1969. Very odd year that was. But anyways, this guy has come forward to reveal UFO activity, and this is right around Guantanamo Bay in Cuba. Mike, I mean, what can you say about that? You're Cuban yourself. Perhaps that is where the UFO's been coming from this whole time.
Yeah, this is not the type of Cuban alien you all are thinking of.
Yeah, Alien Gonzalez.
I was about to say, there's been all kinds of alien activity going on over there.
Yeah. So anyways, the UFOs that he's saying that he saw are, according to him, to be approximately 50 to 100 feet across, but to the naked eye came off as dull, hazy holes with a small red light trailing behind it. Interesting that he would see this in such a desolate location.
Yeah.
You know, this is known to be, a prison you cannot escape from. Guantanamo Bay, it's in the middle of basically hell, and they're seeing UFOs surrounding it. I would say that...
I don't know if I'd call that hell, but...
Well, I mean, for anybody who's there, that's the worst place you could be.
Tropical island. It's pretty nice.
Well, the island itself is great, but anybody who's at Guantanamo Bay, it's not pretty.
You know what they serve for meals at Guantanamo Bay, right?
What's that?
The cock meat sandwich.
Oh, lovely. I'm sure once El Chapo gets sent there, which he won't, because it will be shut down by that time, by the time he finally gets extradited over to the U.S. But I think that, obviously El Chapo, anybody like that, being at that location, that is what's going to interest aliens. If for some reason they read into what's going on here on Earth, they would be interested to know what the craziest people on the planet are thinking, so why not head to Guantanamo Bay? Perhaps there's something to it. I'm reading the article here, K-Mac. I mean, the most interesting thing about this is this was a Marine who's claiming to see these. Apparently he had other Marine buddies who also, definitely saw the UFOs. He said there was no noise at all, just a big, beautiful white cloud with the pulsating light there, the blue and white pulsating light there.
Maybe they're trying to learn how to, different torture techniques and how to interrogate and get information out of people.
Possibly. With aliens, you think?
Aliens are going to start waterboarding.
It's a good place to hit up.
Different types of anal probing.
Yeah, well, or they're sharing information. Yeah, maybe they bring in the aliens to really get the stuff out.
I mean, according to them, Kyle, they were about 200 feet away, so that would be a perfect distance to gain intel. And then they would be sighted, like, shooting straight up into the air, disappearing.
People are going to be like, hey, I was abducted, and I was waterboarded. Where the hell did they learn that from?
Yeah, possibly. I think that would prove that the government is in cahoots with the aliens, teaching them how to waterboard. Now, this was over 50 years ago at this point. Kyle, once again, this is something that a Marine is saying that he witnessed while at Guantanamo Bay. You have to give that some credit.
I don't. Who's this guy?
Well, I mean, random Marine here.
I think he can't get his medication, and the fucking VA's not returning his phone calls.
All right, so 50 years ago, you're saying basically at this point it's almost like statute of limitations.
Yeah. I mean, 50 years ago I saw this. I remember it just like it was yesterday.
Well, I mean, he's saying he saw it every night. UFOs were flying overhead with altitudes of less than 300 feet. So he's saying it's quite a current.
Do you think that'd be something you'd be talking about all the time?
It's in Cuba. We already know Cuba is one of the craziest places on Earth. It's right next to the U.S., yet at the same time they're shunned away. It's starting to change now, of course, but for a long time, they had their own thing going on with Fidel Castro running the entire island. I could definitely guarantee you that would be a place that aliens would look into. It just would be intriguing to them. They'd be like, we got the U.S. here, everything is popping, and then this tiny island, which you can see from the U.S., yet nothing is going on except for Guantanamo Bay. And we've heard of sightings coming from all over the world. I gotta say, this is a new one. Guantanamo Bay, a killer prison right there at the southernmost point of Cuba. I mean, Mike, Havana, you say Cuba is a beautiful island, which it is, but Havana, that's on the opposite side. You don't want to head down there to the southern tip. It's going to get a little bit scary down there, I can imagine.
What, Havana?
No, the opposite end. Havana's on the northern end of Cuba.
Oh, yeah, the opposite end is owned by the U.S.
Yes,
so.
and that's where you have Guantanamo
the prison.
Bay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's not good. So let's go ahead and move on. We have another encounter here. This is another credible source. We have a cop who witnessed a UFO, and this is in Omaha, place famed by Peyton Manning. This was a slow-moving triangle UFO.
Oh, man, this one's totally legit. Look at the pictures he's got.
Walmart.
Apparently, it's right
Is that
above
a piece of pizza?
I think someone threw a pizza in there at Walmart.
Man.
Totally debunked.
This is a police officer, of course. He said, quote, "When I first saw the craft, I knew right off what it was.
I thought I was hungry.
The object was bright, having only 3 lights. It moved slowly for about several seconds and then just disappeared. My actions were, as I motioned the people to drive from the stop sign, I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and last, I kept my eyes on the object. The triangle craft just vanished in the night sky." We have a drawing by the police officer who fancies himself as an artist. Interesting how there's a pink streak in the middle with the triangulated lights there. I mean, you got to admit, Kyle, for all of the witnesses that have seen things like this, they seem to be drawing the same exact triangle vehicle.
The same pizza flying over Walmart.
Exactly. So you're saying everybody's crazy, everybody's seeing a pizza.
I mean, most planes that fly overhead have 3 lights that you see. 1 at the front, 2 at the back on the wings.
I mean, if you see it from the right angle, it's certainly going to create a triangle image. You never know. I feel like the fact that it's a cop, you got to give that credibility. Cops
no
have seen
dash
plenty.
cam. He's not wearing his. Are they all supposed to wear cameras now?
No. The story said that he was guiding the traffic. He's a traffic, coordinator or whatever. So he cannot have the dash cam because he's currently guiding traffic with his little. They have those things that they use at the airport to guide airplanes. They probably waving those things around. That's what got the attention.
Breathing too many fumes.
The UFO.
The cars driving by. Too much carbon monoxide.
Mikey, what's your take on this one? I mean, this is a cop who he said he was definitely sure he saw a UFO. He knew right away, apparently, to him.
Was his favorite song Rip and Dip?
Rip and Dip?
Yeah.
You think the cop was tripping?
Possibly.
All right.
He likes pizza.
All right. Hard-hitting analysis there. All right, so I think this is definitely interesting. Obviously, anytime you have a cop say that he saw a UFO, you got to give it a little bit of credibility. Why a cop would just come out of nowhere and say, "Oh, I saw a UFO" on a night where every night he's probably out there looking out into the sky.
I think he was drunk.
Could be possible. Very possible. All right, so the next UFO footage we have is actually a video. So we can go ahead and check out what this is, Mike. This is from Scotland. We do have a dash cam. Yes, and it caught a very interesting...
Oh, what the fuck?
It's a bright light. You can see it there. We're watching that here at the studio. And there it goes. It just disappeared.
Okay, so that's it.
So watch it again in slow motion.
Well, I'm glad to see it's not, like, too fake. It's not, like, ridiculous. So that right there at least is,
Well, watch the part where it goes in slow motion, Mike, because that's where it's really odd. To watch it completely disappearing, that's what makes it interesting. I mean, you think of other things that kind of disappear.
It's weird. It's definitely weird.
This one kind of did it more organically, and then just kind of disappears into itself.
It could have been a number of things, though.
I've seen a lot of glowing lights as far as comets are concerned.
It could have been a flare.
This one's like not too far from the ground.
It could have been a flare.
Exactly. A lot of times you see these
it could
comets.
have been a flare.
A lot of times the comets up top obviously are moving and they're higher up. This one low down to the ground.
My theory is it's a flare gun being shot up from a taller place. Not off the ground, but like a balcony or something.
Yeah, but it was kind of out there in the mountains. I'm not seeing too many houses up there.
I mean, it's pretty far up there. It's hard to kind of tell what's up there.
Yeah.
Right, so I don't know. I think it's a flare gun, though.
Yeah, this is Lee Frame, 32-year-old from Scotland. He filmed the incident. He said it was not a plane, and here's his quotes. He says, "The lights Sorry, here we go. The lights did not seem to be moving. They just seemed to be sat in the sky. I think it could have been a UFO. I just could not believe what I was seeing. It comes after a spate of UFO sightings. Remember, this is from Scotland, including one earlier this month in Perthshire. John MacDonald, 65, from Dysart, Fife, is convinced he saw a spaceship above him and said it was only around 50 to 70 yards away from him. So we have an entire report. Apparently they're seeing UFOs in Scotland, and we have authentic video footage here, Kyle.
Yeah, I can't say. I mean, it is real footage, but I don't know if that's a UFO.
Mhm.
Looks like something else catching on fire because it got bigger and bigger, and then it just went out. So
Yeah.
The interesting thing is,
Right.
obviously when you have multiple reports and somebody can actually catch something on camera, at least it gives us some visual evidence. But,
yeah, but anything in the sky is not fucking a UFO. Like, I mean,
Well-
most of the shit we're seeing, it's like, okay, that's one of those Chinese lanterns that's
You're-
floating up. That could have been what that was. That could have been one of those that just actually caught fire. The whole outside bag caught fire.
yeah, you're
and went
forgetting
out.
the definition of UFO. It's just unidentified. That's
Yes,
the
but
main thing.
People
We're not.
are relating it always to aliens.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, we're not saying everything's aliens, but when you have odd things in the sky, it's certainly something worth looking at. Now, these days, you have drones, you have all kinds of odd-looking lights in the skies, so you're getting
Exactly.
reports off the chain. But this one I thought was clearly unique. Definitely something we had to talk about here on the Paranormal News. The only question mark I have when it comes to these UFOs that are super bright, it's like if an alien did travel all the way to Earth, you wouldn't want to be that bright. You'd want to be a little bit more stealth. In this case, I think everybody in Scotland would have seen the UFO, but then it did completely basically disintegrated into itself. You got to admit, Mike, I mean, we've looked at a lot of footage here on the Trippy Show, including footage of things that are clearly comets, clearly debris coming from outer space. We never saw something that looked like that before.
No, I haven't. I mean, my personal experience, it was similar to that, but it was going a different way and everything, and the light wasn't as big.
Yeah, that was a huge light, man. You gotta admit, that was a massive bulb. So if that was a flare, like you guys said, I mean, that would be a very, very bright flare over there in Scotland. Thanks again for joining us for another Paranormal News. We got you guys covered for all of the latest UFO, ghost, and supernatural sightings. We'll make sure to cover it here on the show. And maybe one of these days we're going to find some authentic evidence. We have Kyle and Mike who are kind of contrarians with a lot of this stuff. So we're definitely going to need some good evidence to change their minds. So